As you all know by now, the Detroit Lions were able to beat the Cincinnati Bengals today, moving to 4-1. And my honest reactions to the game is that it was not good enough. It was flat out not good enough. We have to play better than that. We This was, in my opinion, our worst game since Green Bay. Last week was not clean by any means, but this week it was even less clean. It was not it was not a good game by the Detroit Lions today at all. First half, they looked pretty good, you know. We kind of looked like what we did against, I would say, Cleveland in the first half. Pretty good for the most part. Got a couple takeaways, got a couple interceptions. Moving the ball decently well on offense, not great. Defense was doing its thing. And then third quarter, was not great. Offense really couldn't do anything in the third quarter. It was starting to head down a little bit worse. And then by the fourth quarter, we looked like what we did against Green Bay. I'm not gonna lie, the defense could not play that as good. I will talk about the reason why, part of it, why they didn't play as good in the fourth quarter and the whole game on the defensive side of the ball. And the offensive side of the ball, they really couldn't do anything either in the fourth quarter. So it was just not a good performance today by the Lions. I expected the Lions, honestly, to throw up 50 points. My game prediction, I don't ever do predictions, but I'm like, okay, if I didn't make a video about it, but hopefully we can get back to the preview videos against Tampa. Before I forget, there will most likely not be any videos during the week. There hasn't been any this season. I just haven't got around it to make any videos during the weeks this NFL season. I just haven't got to it. I've made the preview videos and the review videos of the games this year. Have not made any in-week videos about roster moves or predictions or injury updates or anything like that. I haven't got to it this year. Just really haven't felt like doing it this year, and I really don't know what to talk about because the Lions have been really, really good this year, and they really haven't had any injuries besides these past 2 weeks pop up. So I haven't really thought of anything to do, and I will not be having any videos during the week this week as well, and I probably will not have a preview video next week because I will be gone Tuesday through the middle of Saturday on a mini vacation. So most likely be not, unless if I pre-record some videos tomorrow, there will not be any in-week videos, and the preview video I highly doubt I'll get to as well. So I'll see you for the review video after this video against the Chiefs next week on Sunday Night Football. But let's go and get right into it against this game, as this is the one that matters. But also, I do hope to get back to the in-week roster moves and videos after the Chiefs game, and get back to the preview videos for our final game before the bye week against Tampa on Monday Night Football. So let's go ahead and get to this game now. Not a clean game. We won by 2 scores, but we really only should have. This is a weird game, man. It really, really is, because you could say we put belt this game, but it's like also we kind of got whooped a little bit. Like when you look at the second half, so it was a very weird, unclean, not clean game, not pretty game at all. We won 37-24, moved to 4-1. Bengals now dropped 3 straight, moving to 2-3, and their season is absolutely cooked, unless if they can get a quarterback. Jared Goff, 19 for 23. That's surgical. I think that I looked it up. I think it was 83% completion percentage. Unbelievable. I think I saw a stat that he is the first quarterback in NFL history to start a season through 5 games to start a season to have 75% completion percentage or higher, with 12 plus passing touchdowns and a rating of, I think, 100 plus or something like that, since Peyton Manning in 2013. So Jared Goff has absolutely been surgical this year. Last week was not great. Packers game was pretty horrible. But today and rest of the games this season, week 2 and 3, has been absolutely surgical. And last week wasn't even that bad either. Just really that J-Mo and Goff connection last week was really not connecting. So that really was what made him not have a great performance last week. But besides that, every other receiver and throwing everybody else was very good last week. So Goff has been surgical to start this year, in my opinion. David Montgomery, 1 for 1, 3 yards and 1 touchdown. He has a passing touchdown, returning to, I believe, his hometown in Cincinnati. He absolutely, it was an absolutely great play call by Johnny Morton, and it was absolute perfection by David Montgomery, throwing the 3-yard touchdown pass to the one and only Brock Wright. He was able to get it to him. That is now Dave Montgomery's second career passing touchdown, as he had one last year to Sam Laporta as well. I think it was a 5-yard passing touchdown last season. Dave Montgomery on the ground was fine. He actually played better, in my opinion, on the ground than what the stats showed. 18 for 65, 3.6 a carry, 1 touchdown. He had a lot of 0 and 1 yard runs, but he also had a lot of good, powerful 6, 7 yard runs. So, and that I did not mean to just pull up the meme right there, so don't. Every time I do that, I get embarrassed of myself. I mean, I'm sure that if you're like 50 and you're watching this video, you don't know what I'm saying here. But if you're probably 30 or under, you probably have a good idea of what I'm talking about. And I absolutely despise that meme. I hope it dies. It's the dumbest meme I've ever heard. Hopefully, I don't do it again for a while, because every time I do it, I think of my brother just absolutely doing that meme, and I absolutely hate it. But Montgomery, thought he was very good on the ground today. Don't think the stats show what he actually was today. Jahmyr Gibbs, 12 for 54. He was all right on the ground, 4.5 a carry. He hasn't really had a breakaway run this year yet. I'd like to see him get that potentially within the next coming weeks before the bye. Jamison Williams had a jet sweep. The jet sweep this year with JMO has just really not worked that well, 1 for 1 on the ground. It just really hasn't worked that well this year. I'd like to see it potentially work a little better. It's worked better with Khalif this year than it has with JMO, which is usually not the case. Usually JMO is the one who's really good with the jet sweep, but Khalif this year has been better, surprisingly, than JMO on the jet sweep. Those are usually the two guys taking the jet sweeps. Jared Goff, 2 for 2, and that was on the kneels. St. Brown, 8 for 100. That is now, I think, St. Brown's 19th career 100-plus receiving yard game since 2021 or 2022, I read. And Jamar Chase is the only other one, Justin Jefferson is the only other one to have more in that time period with 22. Absolutely played out of his mind today, St. Brown. Sam Laporta had his best game of the season, 5 for 92 and a touchdown. Sam Laporta is putting up numbers right now similar to what he started in his rookie year, so he's on pace right now to have probably around the same amount of yardage as he had his rookie season. Not necessarily the touchdowns. He did get his first touchdown of the season today, but when it comes to the yardage and receptions, he's on pace to probably be around what he had his rookie season. Playing much better to start off this year than what he did last year, because if you remember, he really could not get rolling in the offense until around week 6 or 7 last year. That was not intentional, but he could not get rolling until about that time period. So Sam Laporta playing much better to start off this year. Put up numbers probably what he is going to put around what he did his rookie year. So Sam Laporta had a great day today. Jahmyr Gibbs, 2 for 33 and a touchdown, one being a 20-yard screen as well for the touchdown from a Jared Goff pass. Pretty good in the run game. Pass game. He hasn't been as effective in the pass game this year as he did last year. He was phenomenal in the pass game last year. Just really hasn't been targeted to as much. Johnny Morton says that we're going to target him a lot more this year, but that just really hasn't showed, in my opinion, throughout the film and throughout the games this year. So hopefully that can get rolling a little bit more this year down the line. Besides that first game, just really hasn't done much. Tesla, 1 for 12 and a touchdown. Tesla got his second touchdown of the day. I'm so mad, though, because I really didn't even get to see his second touchdown, as my TV had to buffer. So I really only saw him actually pulling after the play, getting the touchdown. So I did see the replay, but it's kind of take away, a little bit of the specialty from it. But Tesla gets his second touchdown of the year, and I believe that's now putting him close to 60 receiving yards on the year. So Tesla had to get 5+ touchdowns and 6+ 100 yards receiving for him to buy, for me to buy a Tesla jersey. Touchdowns, he's on pace to get there. Yardage, not so much. But if he can get more involved in the offense after the bye week and play and be the primary wide receiver 3 instead of Khalif Raymond within the next upcoming weeks, there's still potential that he could make that bet happen where I have to buy a Tesla jersey. And it will probably go on the wall. I'd probably put it right here is where I'd put it. Or I'd probably make something happen with that. I don't know. That's probably where I would put it. But we'll see. But that's what has to happen for that bet to happen. And he's probably about, a fourth of the way getting there. So there's that. Brock Wright, 2 for 9 and a touchdown. Already talked about the touchdown play for him. J-Mo was quiet again today. He's now had back-to-back quiet games, 1 for 9 today. Did not have the drops like he had last week, so he was better, in my opinion, this game than he was last week. But still not a great performance by J-Mo. He only had 1 target, too. that was the only target he had, and he brought it in. So I'd like to see that connection pick up with Goff a little bit more over the next coming weeks before the bye. Dave Montgomery 1 for 6. Amik Robertson. Robertson has got his first career interception with the Detroit Lions. I believe that's now, I want to say, the 5th of his NFL career. Maybe it's his 6th. I think it's his 5th, though. Amik Robertson gets his first pick as a Detroit Lion against the Bengals on a pretty good interception. It was to the left of Jamar Chase when he was throwing the ball at Jake Browning. It's not a great throw by Jake Browning, but it was still a pretty good pick by Amik Robertson, who was covering Jamar Chase. Derek Barnes got a sack, and that sack ended up being a safety sack. That's pretty much sealed the game. My brother actually called that, so shout out to my brother right there. He was acting like that 100% sealed the game, and I kind of just said that didn't really seal the game because I didn't want him to be right, but it's also like, okay, we do seal the game. But shout out to my brother for predicting that somebody was going to get a safety on that final drive that the Bengals had the ball. But Derek Barnes was able to get a sack and ended up resulting in a safety. That is now Barnes' second sack of the year, and he also made a couple really nice tackles. Barnes is having a very under-the-radar season. That re-signing and extension for him is looking very, very good. Jack Campbell, not as great today, but he still played very well. Kirby Joseph gets his third interception of the season. That is now puts him also to his career with 20 INTs, the most throughout any player throughout their first 4 seasons in NFL history, tied with Ed Reed. So shout out to Kirby Joseph. Avonte Maddox was in the game today, made a nice tackle, but also got beaten coverage a couple times. Aiden Hutchinson got 1 sack, but he really should have got 3. And the 2 sacks, he did get 3 sacks. 2 of them got taken back, both by penalties. One of the sacks that he should have had taken away, neglected by a penalty, was a strip sack where we would have got the ball, and the other one would have been another safety that got called back. One of them was on Terrion Arnold on it was either illegal contact or pass interference on him. I think it was pass interference, and I cannot remember what the other penalty was on. Yes, it was on Hutchinson. The other sack that he got, the strip sack one, was on Hutchinson, where apparently he was offside. He was touching the blue line, but players touch the blue line all the time. He really wasn't completely. It's not like both hands were over the blue line. Just one hand was touching the blue line. I didn't like the penalty, but he's really had 3 sacks on the day. One of them being the sack that he got today was a strip sack. So really, he had 3 sacks on the day. Two being a strip sack, and the other one being a safety sack. He was phenomenal today, Hutch. Really didn't have a lot of pressures, but the times that he did get to the quarterback and got the sack were phenomenal. Hutchinson playing like comeback player of the year, 100% win that if he can stay healthy. And defensive player of the year, in my opinion, he's got to be first or second right now. He's been out of his mind. On the year, he's now had 3 sacks taken away from him on the season. One being last week as well. He's now had 3 sacks. So if all those 3 sacks counted and they didn't get neglected by penalties, he would be up to 8 sacks through 5 games on the year, 4 forced fumbles on the year, and there's one being a safety sack. I mean, which would put him first in all categories, I'm pretty sure. So, Hutchinson, he's been playing out of his mind this year. Out of his mind. I don't think the pressure numbers are as high as they were last year. Up to this point, because Hutch got hurt in week 5 last year, and we're in week 5 now. I don't think the pressures are as high as they were last year, but when it comes to every other single statistic, they have been higher, or should have been higher, than everything last year. So, Hutch is playing out of his mind this year. Rocky Sin came in the game, replacing DJ Reed today as cornerback 2, as Arnold moved up. Really, actually, I think he was cornerback 3/cornerback 2, playing on the outside. Sin played very well today in DJ Reed's absence. Very, very well. DJ Reed got placed on injured reserve, by the way. I'll go over the roster moves at the end of this video. But Rocky Sin was great today. He really was. Got banged up late in the game. I think he should be all right. We'll probably know more within the upcoming days. But Rocky Sin did a great job today, in my opinion, replacing DJ Reed. I'm telling you, man, Rocky Sin, he's just a steady backup cornerback in the league. He's been our best backup cornerback we've had, probably under the Dan Campbell era, legitimately. I understand it's just 5 games in the young season, but he's been the best depth cornerback that we've had under the Dan Campbell era, in my opinion. great signing that has been. Alex Anzalone had his best game of the season, getting an interception and making at least 2 pass breakups as well. He played a great game today. Branch made a couple nice big hits, was pretty decent sticking coverage. Terrion Arnold, yeah, man, Arnold got hurt late in the game with a shoulder injury, re-aggravated his shoulder that he was dealing with, that he got hurt last week. Was able to practice all week and played today. And that injury ended up popping back up in this game, late in the game, I think in the third, maybe it was fourth quarter, left the game, did not return. Dan Cable says they'll know more on him tomorrow, so that's 50-50 if it's good or not, probably on the bad and good news. But Terrion Arnold, I don't know, man. I'm really at a point where it's like, okay, do we bench Terrion Arnold? Like, not because like I don't think he's gonna be good, but right now he's not a good cornerback. Let's be real here. He is not a good cornerback right now. He's just not. He's not, I should say, a good starting cornerback. He would be a good depth cornerback right now, but as a starting cornerback, he's just not it, in my opinion. Like, I'm honest to God, from what I saw Rocky Sin today and what Rocky Sin has provided within the past couple of years as a depth cornerback, I think I would prefer Rocky Sin to start right now over Terrion Arnold. So, assuming Terrion Arnold is all right with his injury and same goes for Rocky Sin, I think I would prefer Rocky Sin to be cornerback 3 when Reed comes back over Arnold, and then Arnold I'd have go to the bench instead of Rocky Sin. So I think you got to start making conversations about it if his injury's fine, and same goes for Rock. I think once Reed comes back, I think you got to start making conversations about it. I'm not saying bench him right now. I mean, you cannot do that with Reed being hurt, but once Reed comes back, and if those two guys are all right, Arnold and Randy Sin, I think you have to have the conversation, man, right now. I'm not saying he's not going to be good, but right now he's just not a good cornerback, starting cornerback in the National Football League. Had a couple PIs today, 2 pass interference calls, 2 that very well could have been avoided. One being on that Hutchinson strip sack, and the other one being on a third down that should have been. That should have forced fourth down, but neglected that because ended up being a pass interference call on third down by him. Came an automatic first down, and just not great in coverage today. He also had a drop pick on the day as well, so I don't know, man. I think you have to have that conversation once Reed comes back. Tyler Lacey's just a steady rock, man. I like Tyler Lacey, former fourth round pick by Jacksonville in the 2023 draft. Right, I think he was taken right after Broderick Martin. He's just a steady rock, man. Can play on the edge, can play in the interior, primarily playing the edge for us throughout his tenure with us, and he's just been a steady rock, man. He's gonna get some pressure. Gonna take some time to get pressure, but he will get pressure. He's really good in the run game. Had a nice tackle in the run game today. I like Tyler Lacey, man. I really do. Roy Lopez, he's been quiet to start this year, but good quiet. Muhammad, he got a couple pressures today. I thought he was also getting held back pretty good today when it comes to him not getting pressure, but also he made a couple really nice reps. He should have had a sack as well in the day. So Muhammad, pretty decent day today. Nowaski, been looking very good to start this year. Was great in special teams. They had 2 great special team tackles and also made a couple nice plays on defense. Tyleik Williams had another bad pass today. That's now 3 for him on the year. Finally, glad we have a defensive tackle again who can bat passes because we really haven't had that probably since Snacks Harrison. He's been great in the run game. Pass rush game still got to improve a little bit, but I think that will improve over time. McNeil was not good year 1 in the pass rush game, and by probably halfway through year 2, he just took off in the pass rush game, especially in year 3. So, and the comp for Tyleik Williams was Lee McNeil coming out of the draft. So, I'm not worried about Tyleik Williams at all. It's looking like a great draft pick so far, I will admit. Pat O'Connor, steady rock. He kind of is the same with Tyler Lacey. Grant Stewart, not much. Jacob Sayers is good on special teams in my opinion today. Same goes for Craig Reynolds. Jacob Sayers 3 for 87, 29 yards on average on the kick returns today. Khalif Raymond only had 1 punt as because Khalif Raymond got hurt today. Took a huge collision on that 1 punt return. It ended up being a neck injury, and he was ruled out for us the game. Dan Campbell says he does not think it is a long-term injury by any means. He said next week he does not know about next week. He says next week is a possibility, but it's also not a possibility, essentially. Probably won't play next week, but that's good. That's not a long-term injury. That's good for punt on the special teams. but also he is our main wide receiver 3 right now instead of over Tesla. So that is good, even though I would like to see Tesla end up being the wide receiver 3 and not it being split or primarily Khalif Raymond. But that's good news when it comes to Khalif's injury. Jake Bates went 100% on extra points, did not kick a field goal. Jack Fox, pretty decent on punts today, 44.8, and a lot of them were short punts because they was in our territory half the time. Excuse me, at the 50-yard line half the time when he was punting. So that's why it was so low as average. Jake Browning had a horrible first half and then turned around in the second half, 26 for 40. That's got to be close to 70%. That might be even 70%. 250 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Jake Browning was their leading rusher, 4 for 31 on the ground. Chase Brown has been struggling this year, 8 for 27, 3.4 yards to carry on the ground. He had a great year last year. I won't even say great. I think he had a good year last year, don't get me wrong, but his rookie season, he was horrible. I'm just being honest there when it comes to the numbers and watching the film. He was not good all his rookie year. Last year, he was pretty good. Looked like he could end up being a good starting running back. But I'm like, when it comes to fantasy and when it came to and it was an overall running back this year, I'm like, he's being extremely overhyped, man. People are acting like he was the next coming of the next top 5 running back. I'm like, I could see it, but let's not step ahead. Like, he was not that great of a running back last year for me to call him that, and especially throughout the whole year. Really didn't start balling out until about week 5 last year, if I'm not mistaken. So he's been struggling to start off this year. Chase Brown. They had the worst rushing game in the NFL. The Bengals do. Samaje Perine was pretty good on the run game for him. That was a depth running back, 4 for 27. Jamar Chase, 6 for 110 and 2 touchdowns. One of them being a surgical touchdown catch that I missed because Fox. Can we talk about why did you have this? Apparently we were killing the Bengals too much, where he had to switch to a different broadcast that was more competitive. Why did you have to do that? Because that made me miss that play where they ended up getting a touchdown. I was irate, just to say the least. I was irate. I lost my mind. You could ask me that. I absolutely lost my mind for about 10 minutes because I missed that touchdown. Because they missed the touchdown, but also because I missed the play and what happened, and then I had to go back and see what happened once I found the new broadcast. That took me 10 minutes. It was absolutely ridiculous. They better not do that. I mean, it's a good thing that happened because that means we're absolutely beating them at the time. But at the same time, like, you had to make me get irate for 10 minutes, and that's probably my fault. But yeah, I didn't appreciate that, Fox. But Jamar Chase also had another. I think it was an 80-yard touchdown catch today. I don't think it was that long. I think it was probably about a 65-yard touchdown. He was electric on those 2 plays. I mean, all his yards really came from that 65-yard bomb. But he was very good besides that day. Andre Osavage, 5 for 82. T. Higgins has been quiet this year. Did have a touchdown, though, 3 for 22. And like I said, a touchdown, 7 for 21 throughout the receiving game for Chase Brown. Gasecki, 2 for 15. He got hurt. I don't know the severity of the injury for him. Samaje Perine, 2 for 2. Drew Sample, 1 for 1. Their defensive side of the ball, they got 4 sacks on the day. Trey Hendrickson, 2 sacks. Joseph Asai, 1 sack. And the former first-round pick, Miles Murphy, 1 sack. They had no interceptions on the day. Demetrius Knight was their leading tackler with 4 tackles, so that is interesting to say the least, that their leading tackler was with 4. And just to point out here, they're tied second player here. I don't know why it didn't show up, but Jamar Chase had 3 tackles on the day, which would be tied second on their team, and all those 3 tackles were on all of Jake Browning's interceptions. So that's kind of crazy to me. I just wanted to point that out. When it comes to our offensive line, before I forget about it, Giovanni Manu, you see it on the thumbnail, he was abysmal today. He really was in the run game. He was fine. Still needs to work on a lot of things. Fine in the run game. He should be fine in the run game as a size 6'5", 351, but I think he's lost weight. I don't think he's 351 anymore, but that's what it was when I looked him up earlier on Google. I knew he was 350. I just couldn't remember where in the 350s. But in the pass protection, first quarter, he held his own. But once the second quarter got rolling and essentially third and fourth quarter, he kept getting worse and worse, and he could not get better, man. He doesn't have a lot of confidence. That's something I realized with Manu. This was his first career start, and it looked like a first career start for a guy. I mean, we do need to get him reps to get better. I understand that. But Yeah, man, I'm not comfortable. I'm not like I was before, but I'm not comfortable at all right now if Giovanni Manu has to start another game for us this season. That's all I'm going to say. For us, the offensive line today, I thought it was pretty good. Giovanni Manu probably allowed at least 2 of those 4 sacks. I know he actually allowed at least 2 of them. I don't know if he allowed the other 2 or not, but I know he allowed at least 2. When it comes to the rest of the offensive line, I thought it was very good for the most part. I thought Mahogany and Sewell had great days. Glasgow did not have a fantastic day today. Ratledge was all right today. I gotta watch the film, obviously, but that's just my initial thoughts on the offensive line. When it comes to the rest of their team, kick return 6 for 154 for Charlie Jones, and 1 for 6 for Charlie Jones in punt returns. Evan McPherson went 1 for 1 on field goals and 100% on extra points. And Ryan Recco was very good on punts today, 55 yards per punt. Team stats, and then we'll wrap this video up. Total yards for the Lions, 365 to 322 for the Bengals. 247 passing yards for the Lions, 237 for the Bengals. Rushing yards, 118 for Lions, 85 for Cincinnati. 6 yards per play for Detroit, 5.6 for Cincinnati. First downs, 23 to 21, 23 for the Lions. 2 for 8 on third down efficiency for Detroit, 4 for 11 for the Bengals. That has to improve, especially against one of the worst defenses in the league. Fourth down efficiency, we did not attempt one. They did not attempt one either. Total plays, 61 for the Lions, 58 for the Bengals. Sacks allowed, 4 for the Lions, 2 for the Bengals. Really should have been 4 apiece. Punts, 5 for the Lions, 4 for the Bengals. 8 for 56 on penalties for the Lions, 6 for 30 for the Bengals. 1 fumble loss by the Lions, 0 for the Bengals. That was a Jared Goff strip sack fumble, as Giovanni Manu could not stop Trey Hendrickson. As Trey Hendrickson ended up getting the strip sack, that ended up resulting in a fumble. But Jared Goff, that's where the fumble came from. Interceptions thrown, 0 for the Lions, 3 for the Bengals. Time possession, 34 minutes and 21 seconds for the Lions, 25 minutes and 39 seconds for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now I'll pull up the roster moves that we made throughout this week. We only made, I think, 1 batch of roster moves this week. And that will be how we wrap this video up. But Lions overall played a clean game today. I will say I did not love Dan Campbell's coaching in this game. He should have went for, in my opinion, at least 2 times on 4th down this game. One, I think, from our own 45-yard line. I think it was a 4th and 2, and we decided to punt, which is rare that Dan Campbell ever does that. And the other one was that he decided to punt, I think, on what was like 4th and 6 or 4th and 5 from their own 45, from the Bengals' own 45. I don't know why we would punt that if we wouldn't go for it. I kicked the field goal, but so I didn't really like that. And they also, I think they had poor clock management, Dan Campbell, at the end of the first half when we stopped the Bengals on 3rd down in their own territory. I believe at their 40-yard line where they were going to kick a field goal like they ended up doing. We stopped them on 3rd down with, I think, 35, 38 seconds remaining. We had 2 timeouts. We decided to not take a timeout. Clock ran all the way down. Bengals were with 2 seconds left. They kicked the field goal to end the half. If we would have took a timeout, if they would have missed the field goal, we would have got the 40-yard line. Even if they would have made the field goal like they did, we still would have had 1 timeout left with 30-some seconds left at a probably bare minimum our 20-yard line. So it's like, why don't you take the timeout there? I really didn't understand that. I was pretty livid when we didn't take a timeout there. But did not love the coaching from Dan Campbell today, I will say. Let me see here. We're got a couple more roster moves. Yeah, I did want to go over this as well. I'm not going to bring it in, but the UFL Panthers, Michigan Panthers, are no longer a thing. They're no longer going to be in Michigan. They're going to be relocated and named a different team now. So I'm curious to see what they're going to be named. So rest in peace to the Michigan Panthers. I kind of wish they would have stayed, and I'm surprised they moved because they had the highest attendance of any team in the UFL last season. So don't know why the UFL decided to get rid of him. Screw you, UFL. That sucks, man. The roster moves. They released Ronnie Bell from the practice squad this week. I don't love that. I've always liked Ronnie Bell, man. Brought him in from San Francisco last year. Brought him in as our first roster move at the end of last season. Essentially at the beginning of the 2025 season was our first roster move when we made all the futures contracts. Had 3 touchdowns last year with the Niners and 30-some receiving yards. I liked him a lot, man. Decently big wide receiver. I think he was like 6'2", like 200 pounds, maybe 6'1", somewhere around there. I liked him a lot. Wish we would have kept him. I liked what I saw from him in the preseason. But we did bring back Ty Summers. Yes, Ty Summers from last year, the standout guy during the preseason. Looked like Brian Urlacher is what I called him during the preseason last year. He's playing out of his mind. Big shoulder pads. Had the neck brace back there. He reminded me a lot of Brian Urlacher last season, that's all I'll say. And he played quite a bit for the Giants last season. We'll probably bring in the stats here at the end of this video. But we did bring back Ty Summers, which I really, really like. I really do like it. We ended up signing him to the 53-man roster later in the week as well. Is this it? Yes, this is it. We also made some roster moves the next day as well. We placed cornerback DJ Reed on injured reserve. He can come back at the earliest for, I believe, Week 11 against the Philadelphia Eagles. So hopefully he can return for that game because it's going to be huge. They signed Lauren Strickland and Ty Summers to the 53-man roster from the practice squad. We originally signed Ty to the practice squad. Then we brought him up to the 53. And same goes for Lauren Strickland. Been sitting on the practice squad the whole season and not been elevated up to this point. But now with Daniel Thomas still being on injured reserve and the fact that they just had a spot open, they decided to bring him up to the 53. And they signed veteran cornerback Trey Flowers, not the defensive end that was one of the worst free agency signings of all time for us. No, the cornerback. We decided to sign him, the veteran. He used to be a really good starter for Seattle. Signed him to the practice squad as well as standout training camp and preseason cornerback from this year, Nick Whiteside. Struggled our last preseason game. I think that's why he didn't make the practice squad this year to start the year, but he ended up coming back now with all the injuries in the cornerback room. Decided to bring him back. I like that as well. He's a decently big cornerback. Trey Flowers is a huge cornerback. He's like 6'3", 200-something pounds. And Nick Whiteside, I think, is 6'1" or 6'2". So we got two big cornerbacks there coming in the DB room, which we don't really have a lot of big DBs. So we get two there with Nick Whiteside and Trey Flowers. Now, let's go over Trey Flowers and Nick Whiteside's, not Nick Whiteside. We won't go over him. I'm sure I went over his stats when we signed him earlier in the year during training camp. If you want to go look that far forward, just look it up on your own. We'll also go over Ty Summers' stats as well. But I really like both of these signings a lot, Ty Summers and Trey Flowers, or especially Ty Summers. We'll go over Ty Summers' stats first. Ty Summers is now probably the second biggest linebacker on our team besides Jack Campbell. He is 6'1", 241. 13 solo tackles last season. Former 7th-round pick in 2019 by Green Bay. College went to TCU. He's 29 years old, be turning 30 at the end of the season. Rookie year, 4 tackles, played every single game. Second year, played every single game. The most evolved he's been on the defense of any year in his career. 39 total tackles, 27 solo, 1 pass defended. In 2021, he played 14 games, 9 tackles, and a fumble recovery. 2022, he went to Jacksonville and New Orleans, where he played a total of 6 games, had 6 total tackles. And then he stayed with New Orleans in 2023, played every single game but 2, had 2 total tackles was all. And then he went to New York in 2024 after absolutely balling out for us in the preseason. Don't know why we didn't bring him back last year after we cut him. At least didn't bring him back to the practice squad. He ended up signing with the Giants on their practice squad, getting elevated, and ended up playing quite a bit for them, playing 16 games, only missing 1, having 29 solo tackles and 1 passes defended. So in his, 6-year NFL career, he has 83 games played, 89 total tackles, a fumble recovery, and 2 passes defended. So hasn't really played a lot throughout his NFL career. Here is his college stats if you want to go over it. He can also pressure the quarterback, which is a good thing for linebackers because we really don't have a lot of linebackers who can pressure the quarterback besides Derek Barnes and Trevor Nowatzki. So I like that about Ty Summers as well. Now go on to Trey Flowers' stats here, then we'll wrap this video up. Trey Flowers used to be a very good starting cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks before he ended up getting released a couple years ago, where now he's been bouncing around teams. Trey Flowers is 6'3", 203 pounds, 30 years old, turned 30 back in, June. From Oklahoma State, former 5th-round pick by Seattle in 2018, 146. Did not have a stat up until this season, up until this game. First year, 67 total tackles, missed 1 game with Seattle, 3 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 6 passes defended. 2019, missed 1 game, 82 total tackles, which is a lot for a cornerback. 2 sacks, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, 3 interceptions, and 8 passes defended. By far his best career year. 2020, he missed 4 games, 47 total tackles, a forced fumble, and 2 passes defended. Final year with Seattle, had 5 games, played 16 total tackles, no passes deflected, ended up getting released and heading to Cincinnati to finish out the year. We did end up playing every single game but one on the season with Seattle and Cincy. We ended up having 23 tackles, one Cincy, and one pass deflected. So in 2021, he played every game but one, 39 total tackles and one pass deflected. 2022, he stayed with Cincinnati, played 15 games, 27 total tackles, one interception, and three passes deflected. 2023, he went to Atlanta, played 17 total games, so he played every game that year. There's only a season where he's played every single game. Had 21 total tackles and two passes deflected. 2024, he bounced around with Jacksonville and Indianapolis, where he played a total of 5 games, 4 tackles, and 3 of them being solo and no other stats. So in his, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think I did that right. 7-year NFL career, 95 games, 287 total tackles, 2 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 4 interceptions, and 22 passes defended. So Troy Flowers, really like the signing as well. Now this 35-minute video is over. One Pride Lions. I like that you sticked away. If you have watched the video all the way through, appreciate you sticking to the end. We also elevated for this game Devin Cochran. I think it's Cochran how you actually say it. It's a great last name. And they also elevated Trey Flowers. So Trey Flowers and Devin Cochran now have 2 elevations remaining before the Lions have to make a decision with them. So those were the other roster moves from this week. One Pride Go Lions. Lions have to clean this up when they face Kansas City next week on Sunday Night Football, and that is probably when I will see you next. So I will see you next week for the Lions vs. Chiefs Sunday Night Football review video. One Pride, go Lions. Lions head to 4-1. Let's keep it rolling.